Insane destruction might actually be back in the next Battlefield game, and this news has definitely excited many fans of the franchise. We have some evidence too to back this up rather than just speculation, because at the moment we don't know much at all about the next title. So let's take a look. This was discovered by the Tech4Gamers website, and they found a job application for a VFX director on the EA website regarding Battlefield. It includes the following language. Ripple Effect, an evolution of Battlefield's DICE LA, is a Los Angeles and Vancouver-based game studio on a mission to build community-first experiences through continuous innovation and boundary-breaking technology. We are looking for a senior 3D artist like you to help us create the most realistic and exciting destruction effects in the industry. One of the work task examples was quite interesting too. It said, in this hands-on role, you will create stunning real-time visual effects using a mastery of high-quality particle effects, textures, and shaders. Oh, now I know that it's easy to read into these things too much, but that sounds like perhaps DICE are putting an emphasis on destruction for the new game. This is exciting to me personally in many ways. To start with, BF 2042 did not have the level of destruction that I'd come to expect from a Battlefield game. Ever since Bad Company, Battlefield was the franchise where you knew that you were going to be able to blow holes in walls and crumble buildings to the ground. Bad Company 2 took it to the next level. BF3 had you dropping the fronts of buildings on your enemies with RPGs, and BF4, well, that had skyscrapers collapsing entirely. BF1 and BF5 I think showcased more detailed destruction with impressive visual effects combined, but with BF 2042, as a long-standing fan and player of the franchise, the maps just didn't feel as alive or kinetic to me. Many walls and surfaces that may have blown into smithereens when you detonated a C4 on them in the past no longer had a reaction. Perhaps this was an intentional design choice, but it could also have been a sacrifice that DICE had to make in order for 128 players to battle it out on larger maps, while still keeping server performance in check. Some of the live service levels, however, that DICE added after launch did feature a bit more destruction. These newer maps were intentionally scaled down and catered to 64 players first. And you know what, there are a few more things that you can blow up on those maps, but it's still a bit underwhelming compared to the previous games. Most of the destruction though you'll actually find in Portal, which conveniently enough was made by Ripple Effect. So why would DICE potentially be focusing on this? Well, I think that maybe they heard the feedback from 2042 to start with, and they want to bring their explosive A game back next time. There's just something so satisfying about destruction kills in some of the previous BF games that no other game up until recently managed to replicate. You know, myself and many other players missed that in 2042. So bringing, quote, exciting destruction effects and maybe rubble drop kills back, for example, would be an easy win in my opinion. Secondly, other contemporary games are starting to catch up with DICE in terms of multiplayer destruction, and EA and DICE might be sitting back looking at those thinking, damn, we should really do that again. And I'm talking about games like The Finals, for example, made by Embark. That game features server-side destruction, so it's always the same for all players in a lobby, which means you don't get any jankiness with it. And this leads to some incredibly fun and chaotic moments. Some of the time, having a massive impact on the gameplay and giving the players urgency and choice rather than just ending up as a gimmick or something that they can put in a trailer. Because in The Finals, you can destroy almost anything in the level, even structures that are holding objectives, and it's great fun. What about BattleBit 2? Can't forget that one, a game that had so many Battlefield-esque features crammed into it, also had impressive destruction. Yes, it's not on par in terms of how realistic it looks, but it did give you a taste of how that would play out with up to 256 players battling at the same time, and then you throw in tank blasts, helicopters, RPGs, C4 into the mix. It's just fun as hell. The idea of having that again with a modern Battlefield and AAA graphics is quite tantalizing. So DICE might be thinking to themselves, okay, now it's time, let's take the crown back and show how far we can take the destruction. Also, I have to call back to June 2020 when DICE showed some work in progress clips at EA Play, and there we saw what looked to be dynamic smoke effects and entire sides of buildings being crumbled down. At the time we assumed that maybe that was for the next game, it makes sense, but that stuff did not materialize at all in BF 2042. So perhaps the technology that they showed then will come to the next game instead. Imagine if you could, I don't know, enter the sub-basement of a building like that, plant C4 explosives on each of the supporting pillars, detonate and bring it crashing to the ground, taking out entire squads of enemies hiding on the inside. The possibilities are exciting to say the least. The Frostbite engine, which Battlefield games have used since Bad Company, recently updated their website and logo too, releasing a blog at the same time. And in that, they talked about making the engine easier for players and creators to use, but also, if you go to the main information page of the site, there's now a picture of Battlefield with the text "Next Level Destruction," massive and progressive damage on terrain, architecture and vehicles, which enables altering the flow of a map or level. Altering the flow of a map or a level, you say? Well, that sounds a bit more advanced than what we had in BF 2042, doesn't it? So perhaps this website update is alluding to some of the uses for destruction gameplay in the next game. It could be that with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X being the current consoles, there is a new true next-gen version of Frostbite that doesn't have the limitations of the previous console generation, Xbox One and PS4. So fingers crossed, because of the engine update and because of the tech they're talking about in this job application, I'm hoping that they do implement this next level destruction in the game and truly go all out with it. I'd love to see that. I also had a look around the EA Jobs website. I put a few filters on for Battlefield and I found another role related to Battlefield that I thought could reveal information about the next game. Let's take a look. This one here is for a senior AI game designer. Reporting to the design director, you are an AI designer who will design and improve the player experience against and with enemy and NPC AI characters and vehicles. Your analytical skills, player insight and creativity help create gameplay experiences that engage and surprise players. You will work with every tool at hand to improve and iterate AI combat systems and encounters that'll thrill our players. And some of the responsibilities are: manage enemy and NPC AI systems and experiences, collaborate with encounter designers and level designers to deliver compelling combat experiences, collaborate with animators and engineers to develop high quality AI behavior, and manage AI animation needs and behavior implementation for a variety of combat encounter experiences. Pretty cool. So this could be a few things, I reckon. It could just be that they're looking for someone to help work on AI for the single player campaign of the next Battlefield game that the new Seattle studio Ridgeline Games are building. All that we know officially about that is that it's a narrative experience. So come on, it's going to be a campaign of some delineation for sure. And some of that language lines up with previous BF single players working with the squad, etc. However, it could be referring to the bots that might be in the game. Like, you know how in BF 2042 we have bots that fill up servers, or you can play against them solo and they know how to play the game. They can drive vehicles, cap flags, get kills, revive, etc. So maybe it's just an enhancement of that. Or let's put our what if hats on for a second. What if there will be some form of advanced AI enemies in multiplayer that are more than just placeholders for players? What I mean by that is, look at DMZ or Tarkov. Those are PvPvE rather than just PvP. So maybe Battlefield will put some of that in the next game. I don't think it needs it, but let's say side objectives while you're playing Conquest. That could be something like assaulting an AI stronghold to gain control of high ground overlooking a flag. I don't know, I'm just spitballing of course, but could be a possibility. The job listing mentioned a variety of combat encounter experiences, so maybe the new experience, the new thing that Ripple Effect are working on for the game. Again, we know nothing about it yet, but if that's a battle royale game, I personally think it is, then there could be some form of AI enemies in that too. What if Ripple Effect are making a proper extraction mode for Battlefield? Hazard Zone didn't go down well at all. There wasn't much to it, but the rumors are that the next game won't release until 2025, and Ripple Effect haven't done anything front-facing since the launch of BF 2042, as far as I'm aware, which was November 2021. So if a full 2025 release is true, then they'll have had 4 years to work on something. Perhaps they could have developed an amazing Battlefield extraction game in that time, in those 4 years. I'm not sure, but you know, it's very intriguing to read that stuff. I'm sure there are many people who are detectives that go on these job websites and might spend hours on them, and you know, maybe sometimes more detailed and specific stuff is left in. It's just that most people don't go looking for it, so it never gets talked about. But certainly some interesting things here today. The destruction thing, I'm very excited about that. And I'm hoping that we truly do get some next level destruction when the next game rolls around. Because I feel like it's just got to have it. If it doesn't, it's missing something. Anyway, guys, do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you being here. Drop me a like if you liked the video, a dislike if you didn't. Subscribe if you're new as well. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.